you can get away with some propaganda as long as the game itself is fun enough for people to overlook those things in the game. Obviously.
So a couple of years ago, or actually earlier this year, hold on, let me take another step back even further. Reset one more time. Okay. Dragon Age Veilguard launches, and it immediately spikes to the top of the charts. And Jason Schreier, video game journalist enthusiast, man, top tier video game journalist, man, came out with his infamous quote on October 31st: "Get woke, go or top of the charts." Right? The infamous tweet here from Jason Schreier. Now, fast forward 8 months, and we all know what happened to Dragon Age Veilguard. It has not performed well at all. It has not retained any sort of audience over time. As a matter of fact, right now, let's play the Price is Right game, Kirsche. How many people are playing Dragon Age the Veilguard right now on Steam?
Ooh, I'm gonna say like 4,000.
Ooh, you have lost the game. Currently sitting at 786 players.
Oh, wow. Okay, that tanked hard.
Yes. Now, let's fast forward from that original article, the after the Get Woke, Go Broke or the top of the charts, which once again was deleted, by the way, totally backed out. He has now written an article inside the Dragon Age debacle that gutted EA's BioWare studio. Now, we have gone through and read this entire article here, Blabs.
Yes.
And why don't you just give us a quick, 30 to 45 seconds on this article?
So this article has a lot of information in it. The big takeaway is that this game was honestly destined to fail since day one. There were so many things wrong with this game, from teams not working together, internal fights, layovers and turnovers of employees, changing this game from single player to multiplayer, back to single player, aiming to release it around 2020, and then concising the story to fit it out as fast as you can to a global market, and then changing the wheels on that again to be no, we're going to delay this a couple months. Then there was the strikes for the voice actors, so they couldn't redo any dialogue, they couldn't redo or extend any scenes or add any more content. And then this article does not talk about, obviously, the big change in pop culture, really. It does not talk about, the woke, if you want to call it, and all that other stuff. None of it is in there. Honestly, this game was destined to be failure since day one is the biggest takeaway. There was lots of internal fighting. Lots of it. No one could agree on stuff.
And my thought on that is, that's awesome. I don't care. Right?
Well, I mean, that does have a huge impact on this game.
Yeah. So I go back to the greatness of Bill Parcells. Kirsche, do you know Bill Parcells?
The name does not ring a bell. I'm bad at names.
Bill Parcells is a famous football coach. He coached the Patriots.
I know nothing about sports ball.
Okay. So Bill Parcells he's a coach. He has a famous saying. And the saying is, "Don't tell me about the pain, just show me the baby." Right? I don't care about how you got there. Just present the final product. And I think that's how the vast majority of people feel when it comes to buying video games. They don't care about all the drama that went behind the scenes. They don't care how you got there, as long as you got there and you delivered a product here. I don't care about the teams that didn't get along together. I don't care about that. What I care about is that when presented with a game about that, I had to learn about they, them, and have to do pull a barf for Mr. and sit through cutscenes. That's what I care about. Yes. That's what I care about here. Now, Paul Tossi was tweeting about this, and Paul Tossi, also a video game journalist, top-tier video game journalist, says, Jason Schreier, what went wrong with Dragon Age Veilguard just dropped, and, Blabs kind of gave us the TLDR on it here. But this guy said, despite all the BioWare higher-ups he talked to, he intentionally missed the story. The game failed because it was defined in the minds of its audience by YouTubers making fun of its quest about pronouns. This is the game that proved that approval from Asmongold matters more than approval from IGN for launching a successful game.
Yeah, the YouTubers have replaced the game's journalists, and they are not happy about that.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Now, he responded, says, it's okay to push back on this, but when the, quote, woke debate consumes literally an entire online marketing campaign, that can in fact be damaging. And yes, Asmongold trashing something does actually matter now, like it or not. Not that you should cater to that, but it's where it's at. Now, Asmongold has responded to this and put Paul in his place here. He says, actually, Blabs, I want you to read that in your best Asmongold.
I don't know. I can't do that. I just want to point out, side note, that this article did say that they had a failure of marketing.
Well, yeah, of course they did. It was a horrible message.
Well, yeah, for sure. But I just wanted to state that in the article. So Zach says, while I'm sure making videos is a rallying point, the reality is that most people consume content that reinforces what they already believe. There are people who adamantly defend woke games, but no one watches them because those ideas and viewpoints are inherently unpopular.
Correct. Yes, 1,000%.
A hard agree. Maybe Anna should read some of Zach's posts here.
Right. Now he responded back with the term influencer exists for a reason. People like you or Rogan or whoever also shape views on topics, not just act as a mirror. On top of that, negative content will get 10x the attention as positive, which applies to the whole anti-woke industry and why it's so successful here. And
well, there's a line though, right? Because people don't like it if you're just all doom and gloom all the time. And like, as the only person who reports on stuff in regards to Bridge, like, I understand that very well because like my Bridge stuff doesn't typically get huge views in the first place. But if I go too long with talking about Bridge stuff, like obviously that affects. And people are just like, oh, the corpo speak, Kirsche, please, I can't take it. And it's like, I get it. Like, my eyes glaze over too, man. Like, you can't just keep harping on the same points all the time. I know people be like, I want something happy. Give me something positive.
Right. And people will do the same with side scrollers. And they say, oh, all you do is talk about negative stuff. No. We talk about, like, you clearly don't watch the show. If all you think is we talk about negative all day long. We have such a great time on this show every day. It's super duper fun. But somebody actually pushed back. Now this person, it goes by @GamingGrifter over on X.
Oh boy.
Tech USA is an avatar?
Oh, I don't know. But he said, Paul, have you ever considered when quite clearly the majority of gamers reject these woke games, as seen in the failure of each and every one of these games, that perhaps you may be the one on the wrong side of this? Just ask yourself that one question and then genuinely critically examine your own stance and side, which I don't think any of these people have done here. But I think this is a very fine question here.
I think a lot of people are just incapable of the self-reflection necessary to think maybe I'm on the wrong side here.
Yes, they don't want to be the stormtrooper who goes, are we the bad guys? Are we the bad guys here? To where Paul Tossi says, nope, absolutely not. He says, it's not a clear majority. It's a loud minority. No game fails purely because it's woke. Not this, not Concord, or whatever you're going to reference. All these games have real issues separate from all that, obviously, here. And look.
Well, it's like,
I agree.
I can kind of agree with this, and I was going to say, if you make your propaganda subtle enough and the game fun enough to play, there will be people who defend it. There will be people who are like, I don't care if it's kind of woke, I don't care if I'm taking the tip, I'm going to play it because it's fun to play. And this is how they're able to get away with more and more subversive propaganda in the future. Look at Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. That guy, the developer, lied to his audience. He went back on his word. He retconned the characters in order to please the woke mob because he admitted, I can't remember where the tweet is, but he admitted he was like scared of what would happen if he didn't do some capitulations in the second game. And so you had tons of people running defense and saying like, oh no, it's not woke. The YouTubers are just complaining. Like it's fine. Like the game is fun to play and that's what matters. And so it's like you can get away with some propaganda as long as the game itself is fun enough for people to overlook those things in the game. Obviously, there's a small subset of people who will be like, based on principle, I'm not going to touch your slop anyway. But you only need to reach the normies who are going to be like, fun to play, don't care.
Well, and here's the thing. Both things can be true, right? If your game, Dragon Age Veilguard or Concord, has issues, then you better make sure it has a great packaging and doesn't include all the other
Yes.
things that'll drag it down, right?
Yes.
There can both those things can be very much true here, and we've seen over and over again. Like, this is such a great example of where we're at here. Like, this is Paul, he said it's not a clear majority, it's a loud minority. Oh, really? How are these games doing? How's Stellar Blade doing compared to Dragon Age Veilguard, compared to Shadows, compared to Avowed? Oh yeah, and right, Concord, right?
0 players.
So how is this going for you? How's that loud minority speaking? I would say it's speaking pretty loud, and that's the most fascinating thing about all this. Is I said this over on X. Like, this dude can't burst out of his echo chamber to see that the vast majority of people don't have any time for any of this nonsense.
Mm-hmm.
So they reject and they vote with their wallet, as they should. I'm not alone though.
I'm on you.
Merrick, who is the CEO of CI Games. Now, CI Games, if you recall, they are the folks behind Lords of the Fallen. Merrick,
They reached out to me too. They're very nice.
oh, did they?
Yeah.
Oh, you should say hello. Merrick came out, pretty base dude, said completely agree with Asmongold. When creators stop resonating with their audience, people move on. Gamers are tired of being marginalized. This is the fallout. The rise of creators like Asmongold shows us how many people are fed up with woke. Great to see more creators unafraid to speak out. No place for social and political agendas in gaming.
Agreed.
And that,
He's
I think,
just correct.
right. He's just right. But this goes back to these people who are writing these articles. And, Blabs has been, I'm going to give you a lot of credit here, Blabs. When it comes to Psycho Lady who now waits tables, right? Right. She has been saying, like, why are we talking about her? Right. The more we talk about these people, the bigger platform they receive. Right. So we are giving them credibility, and we should not be providing them any credibility in a situation like this. So, so the idea of Paul Tossi, the idea of Jason Schreier, these people who don't understand what's going on, they're dead to us. They're pointless. They're obsolete at this point. The idea.
And I think like we're talking about them a little bit today. I think there is a poignant reason to do so a little bit. Because it's not so much giving them a platform, it's reminding people, hey, these people are shitty, these people are shady, these people want to take away the fun pastime that you have in gaming and transform it into their ideological battlefield. And they're lying to you the entire time when they say that they're not doing that. And if we don't point out that, like, hey, these people are shady, they are lying, we're just going to have, 2014 over and over again, where they're allowed to slink back into the shadows and people forget about them and laugh at them and think it's all over. And then they come back 5 years later with a whole host of terrible changes and old IPs that people love and new games that are just trash.
1000%. And this goes back to the gatekeeping side of this, right? And there's also the access side of this that people don't want to talk about, the access journalism, right? You see a lot of this with YouTubers and traditional access media, your IGNs, whatever, where they will only say enough to where they can still get that next sweet game for free or invited to that next event, right? Mm-hmm. They'll be as critical as they can be while still towing the company line, and that's where we're at right here. So. It's amazing to see that these folks they truly don't understand it, and they can tiptoe all around it. But at the end of the day, the customer will ultimately vote with their wallet based off what they see, just like we've always done. I go back to, I've said this on the show, when you're seeing this footage of Dragon Age Veilguard, and you're like, what am I watching? It's the same exact thing as if you're back in the 80s looking at the back of a box and the screenshots don't look good, right? It's your first impression of these games, and it doesn't matter what happened behind the scenes. Just give me a good product at the end and I'll be happy. Nobody cares about the drama. So
yeah.
You know what I do care about? Penguin Lord with another 50 gifted memberships to the channel.
I didn't realize penguins had such big dicks.
Wow. Yes. Give it up for Penguin Lord 0. Just
Nice.
slapping it right on the table.
You forgot his 2. He demands his correct numby.
Hey, YouTube suggested that you should watch this video too, so you should probably do it.